I helped my husband build his empire from nothing. I worked 2 jobs so he could finish his MBA. I believed in him when no one else did. At my family's dinner table, in front of everyone I love, he laughed and said he should have married my sister instead. My mother went silent. My father's fork stopped midair. And my sister? She smiled. My name is Claire. I'm 34, a financial analyst in Seattle, and I've been married to Derek for 9 years. We met in college. He was charming, ambitious, a little lost. I was the one who saw potential where others saw risk. When he wanted to start his own consulting firm right out of grad school, everyone told him to get a real job first. Everyone except me. I worked 60-hour weeks at a bank while waitressing Friday and Saturday nights so we could pay rent and still save for his business expenses. I proofread every proposal. I celebrated every small win like it was the Super Bowl. When his first major client signed, he took me to a diner at 2 in the morning, and we shared cheese fries and talked about the house we'd buy someday. That was 7 years ago. Now Derek runs a firm with 18 employees and clients across 3 states. We have the house, a beautiful craftsman in Queen and with a view of the Sound. We have the life I worked myself hollow to build. And somewhere along the way, I became the least interesting person in his story. My sister Vanessa is 2 years younger than me. She's a corporate event planner, successful, charismatic, unmarried by choice. She's the kind of person who walks into a room and rearranges the energy without trying. Growing up, I was the responsible one. She was the magical one. I made straight A's. She made memories. Our parents host a family dinner every first Sunday of the month. It's tradition, something my mother started when we were kids to keep us connected. Usually it's pleasant. Sometimes it's boring. That night, it was a detonation. We just finished the main course. My father was refilling wine glasses. My mother was bringing out her famous lemon cake. Vanessa had been talking about a corporate retreat she'd organized in Napa. Some tech company, open bar, fire dancers, the whole production. Derek was hanging on every word. You know, he said, leaning back in his chair with that grin he uses when he thinks he's being clever. If I'd met you first, Vanessa, I probably would have saved myself a lot of trouble. The room didn't just go quiet. It collapsed. My mother froze with the cake server in her hand. My father set the wine bottle down slowly, deliberately. I felt my face go hot, then cold, then numb. What? I said. My voice sounded far away. Derek laughed. Come on, Claire, it's a joke. She's fun, you know? You're great, obviously, but I don't know. Exciting. Vanessa laughed too. Not a full laugh. Just a small, breathy sound that could have been surprise or agreement or discomfort. But she didn't say stop. She didn't say that's not funny. She just looked down at her plate, smiling. You chose me, I said quietly. 9 years ago. You chose me. And it was the right choice, he said, still grinning, still not reading the room. I'm just saying, if I'd known Vanessa back then. Get out, my father said. Derek blinked. What? You heard me. My father stood up. He's not a large man, but in that moment he seemed enormous. You don't speak about my daughter like that in my home. Leave. Jesus, it was a joke. Now. Derek looked at me like I was supposed to defend him. Like I was supposed to smooth it over, laugh it off, make it okay. I looked back at him and said nothing. He left. Vanessa left 10 minutes later, saying she had an early morning. My mother hugged me for a long time in the kitchen while I stood there, unable to cry, unable to move. My father sat at the table in silence, staring at the spot where Derek had been. I drove home alone. Derek was in the living room when I got there, scrolling through his phone like nothing had happened. Your dad seriously overreacted, he said without looking up. I set my purse down on the console table. Do you know what you just did? Made a joke that people took way too seriously. You told my entire family you wish you'd married my sister. He sighed, finally looking at me. I didn't say that. You said if you'd met her first, you would have saved yourself trouble. What does that mean, Derek? It means, he stopped. Recalibrated. Look, you've been stressed lately. You're always tired. Vanessa's just lighter. I didn't mean anything by it. Lighter. Yeah. Fun. You used to be fun. Something inside me made a sound like ice cracking. I worked 2 jobs so you could start your business, I said. I know, and I'm grateful. I believed in you when no one else did. Claire, I gave you everything I had. And you just told my family I'm a burden. That's not what I said. It's what they heard. It's what I heard. He stood up, frustrated now. So what do you want? An apology? Fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I made a stupid joke. Can we move on? I looked at him, really looked at him. At the man I'd built a life around. And I realized I didn't recognize him anymore. Or maybe I did, and that was worse. No, I said. No what? No, we can't move on. I walked upstairs, pulled a suitcase from the closet, and started packing. Claire, come on. You're being dramatic. I didn't answer. I folded clothes in silence while he stood in the doorway, watching, waiting for me to break. I didn't break. I left that night and checked into a hotel downtown. I turned off my phone and sat in the dark, staring at the city lights, and felt nothing. Not sadness. Not anger. Just a vast, echoing quiet. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Derek called 47 times in 3 days. I didn't answer. I didn't block him either. I wanted him to feel the silence, to sit in it, to wonder what I was thinking. My lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia who came highly recommended by a colleague, advised me to keep all communication through her office. I did. On the 4th day, Derek showed up at my office. Security called my desk. There's a Derek Morrison here to see you. Should I send him up? No, I said. Tell him I'm in a meeting. He says it's urgent. Tell him to contact my attorney. I heard the guard relay the message. I heard Derek's voice rise in the background, then go quiet. He left. That night, he sent an email. Subject line, please read this. Asterisk Claire, I don't understand what's happening. I made a mistake. I said something stupid and hurtful and I'm sorry. But you're my wife. We've been together for 9 years. Doesn't that mean anything? You can't just throw that away because of one bad joke. Call me. Please. We need to talk about this like adults. Asterisk. I read it twice, then forwarded it to Patricia without comment. She replied within an hour. Asterisk don't engage. He's testing boundaries. Let him sit. Asterisk. I let him sit. In the meantime, I did something I should have done years ago. I started looking at our finances. Really looking. We had a joint account for household expenses, but Derek had always handled the business finances separately. He said it was cleaner that way, easier for taxes. I trusted him. Now I didn't. I requested statements. I combed through credit card bills. I tracked expenses, deposits, patterns. What I found didn't shock me. It clarified things. Expensive dinners I'd never attended. Hotel rooms in cities where he'd claimed to have day trips. A recurring charge to a high-end gym membership I'd never heard him mention. Nothing definitive. Nothing I could prove in court. But enough to paint a picture of a man who'd stopped seeing me as a partner a long time ago. I saved everything. Vanessa texted me on day 6. Asterisk Claire, can we talk? I feel terrible about what happened. Asterisk. I stared at the message for a full minute before typing back. Do you? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Asterisk yes. It was inappropriate. I should have said something asterisk. But you didn't. Asterisk I know. I'm sorry. Can I take you to lunch? Asterisk. No. The dots appeared one more time, then stopped. She didn't text again. My mother called that same afternoon. How are you holding up? She asked, her voice careful. I'm fine. You don't sound fine. I'm functional. That's enough right now. She was quiet for a moment. Your father hasn't spoken to Derek. He won't unless you ask him to. I won't. And Vanessa. She trailed off. What about her? She came by yesterday. She's very upset. Good, I said, and I meant it. Claire. Mom, she smiled. When he said that, she smiled. My mother didn't argue. She couldn't. We both knew what we'd seen. What are you going to do? She asked quietly. I'm going to take back my life. 2 weeks after I left, Derek's business partner, a man named Ron who I'd always liked, called me. We'd met dozens of times over the years, holiday parties, client dinners, the firm's 5th anniversary celebration. He was steady, smart, the counterbalance to Derek's flash. "Claire," he said when I answered. "I hope this isn't out of line, but I wanted to check in." "That's kind of you." "Derek's been off lately. Distracted. I'm guessing you two are going through something." I didn't confirm or deny. "Listen," Ron continued, "I don't know what happened, and it's none of my business. But I want you to know, if there's anything you need, professionally speaking, I'm here. You helped build this company as much as Derek did. More, honestly." Something in my chest loosened slightly. "Thank you, Ron. I appreciate that. I mean it. You have my number." After we hung up, I sat with his words. You helped build this company as much as Derek did. I had. I'd worked myself to exhaustion, so Derek could take risks. I'd proofread proposals at midnight. I'd networked at events I hated. I'd been the invisible engine behind every early success. And Derek had erased me from the story. I opened my laptop and started writing. Not a journal entry, a document. A detailed account of my financial contributions to Derek's business. Every dollar I'd earned working double shifts. Every expense I'd covered while he built his client base. Every sacrifice I'd made that he'd rebranded as his own hustle. I didn't know what I'd do with it yet, but I wanted it documented. I wanted proof that I'd existed in a version of our story he'd prefer to forget. 3 weeks in, Derek changed tactics. He stopped calling. Stopped emailing. Instead, he started posting on social media, something he rarely did. Pictures of himself at the office, captions about resilience and growth, a quote about forgiveness, a throwback photo of us from 5 years ago with the caption, "Missing the simple days." It was performative, transparent, and judging by the comments, effective. "Hope everything's okay, man. Asterisk you two, our relationship goals. Sending love, asterisk. Whatever you're going through, you'll get through it." I didn't respond. I didn't post. I let him perform for an audience that didn't know the truth. But I did do one thing. I called Ron back. "I want to know," I said, "if Derek ever acknowledged my contributions to the firm. Officially, I mean. In paperwork. Contracts. Anything." Ron was quiet for a long moment. "No," he said finally. "He didn't. Even though I funded the first 2 years? Even though. Would you be willing to confirm that in writing? If it ever became necessary." Another pause. "Yes," he said. "I would." I thanked him and hung up. Then I called Patricia. "I want to file," I said. "I want a divorce, and I want to make sure he understands exactly what I'm entitled to. Financially, everything. Half the house. Half his retirement accounts. And I want documentation of my contributions to his business during the marriage. I have records. I have a witness." Patricia's voice sharpened with interest. "Tell me everything." I did. When I finished, she said, "This is very good, Claire. This is leverage." "I don't want leverage," I said. "I want out. But I want him to know that erasing me has a cost." "Understood. I'll draft the paperwork." That night, I slept through for the first time in weeks. The divorce papers were served at Derek's office on a Thursday afternoon. I know because Ron texted me. Asterisk, he just got them. Thought you should know, asterisk. I didn't ask how Derek reacted. I didn't need to. He called 17 times that evening. I didn't answer. At 9 p.m., he showed up at the hotel where I'd been staying. The front desk called my room. "Mrs. Morrison, your husband is here. He's asking to come up. Tell him no. He's insisting. Tell him if he doesn't leave, you'll call the police." There was a muffled conversation then. "He's leaving, ma'am." "Thank you." I stood at the window and watched the parking lot until I saw him get in his car. He sat there for 20 minutes, headlights on, not moving. Then he drove away. The next morning, I received an email from his lawyer. It was professional, cold, and exactly what I expected. A request to negotiate terms, a suggestion that litigation would be costly and unnecessary, a thinly veiled implication that I was being unreasonable. Patricia responded within the hour. Her email was twice as long and 3 times as sharp. By the end of the week, we had a meeting scheduled. The mediation took place in a conference room downtown. Neutral territory, glass walls, uncomfortable chairs. Derek arrived with his attorney, a man in an expensive suit who looked like he billed by the breath. I arrived with Patricia, who looked like she ate men like him for breakfast. Derek wouldn't look at me at first. When he finally did, his eyes were red-rimmed, his face drawn. "Claire," he said, "can we talk? Just the two of us." "No," Patricia said before I could answer. "Everything goes through counsel." His lawyer cleared his throat. "My client is willing to offer a fair settlement. The house, as community property, would be split. Retirement accounts, the same. We're prepared to be generous." "Generous," Patricia repeated, her tone flat. "Let's talk about generous." My client funded the first 2 years of Mr. Morrison's business. She worked 2 jobs while he built his client base. She has documentation, financial records, witness testimony, proving her contributions were instrumental to the company's success. Derek's lawyer glanced at Derek, who was staring at the table. "The business was started during the marriage," Patricia continued, "which makes my client entitled to a portion of its value. We're not asking for half. We're asking for what's fair. 20% of the firm's current valuation, plus the standard division of marital assets." Derek's head snapped up. 20%? That's insane. Is it? Patricia slid a folder across the table. "These are bank statements showing deposits my client made to cover business expenses. These are emails where she provided client research. This is a signed affidavit from your business partner confirming her contributions. Would you like me to continue?" Derek's lawyer opened the folder. His expression didn't change, but I saw him make a note on his legal pad. "We'll need time to review this," he said. "Take your time," Patricia said. "But understand, we're prepared to go to court if necessary. And in court, this all becomes public record. Client lists, financials, the full scope of marital misconduct." Derek flinched. "Misconduct?" his lawyer asked. Patricia smiled. "Unexplained hotel charges. Dinners for 2 in cities where Mr. Morrison claimed to be traveling alone. A pattern of financial secrecy. We're not alleging infidelity, but we're happy to let a judge explore the possibility." The room went very still. Derek looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw something I'd never seen before: fear. "Claire, please," he said, his voice cracking. "Don't do this." I met his eyes and spoke for the first time since we'd sat down. "You did this." His lawyer put a hand on his arm. "Don't say anything else." But Derek kept going. "I made a mistake. One stupid comment. You're destroying my life over a joke." "No," I said quietly. "I'm taking back what I built. There's a difference. We can fix this." "There's nothing to fix. You stopped seeing me years ago. That night at dinner, you just finally said it out loud." "That's not true." "It is. And you know it." Patricia stood. "Gentlemen, we'll expect a response to our proposal within 7 business days. If we don't hear from you, we'll file a motion to subpoena business records and proceed with discovery." We left. In the elevator, Patricia turned to me. "You did well in there. I didn't do anything. You stayed calm. You didn't break. That's everything." The settlement came back in 5 days. Derek agreed to 20% of the firm's valuation, paid out over 3 years. Half the house. Half the retirement accounts. He kept his car, I kept mine. No alimony. I didn't want it. I wanted a clean break. Patricia called to tell me the news. "He caved?" I asked. "Completely. He doesn't want discovery. He doesn't want a trial. He wants this over. So do I." "Then we're done. I'll send over the final papers for your signature." I hung up and sat in the silence of my hotel room, soon to be my former hotel room. I'd already put a deposit down on a condo in Capitol Hill, smaller than the house but mine. Fully, completely mine. That night my mother called. "Your father and I want to take you to dinner," she said. "You don't have to do that." "We want to." We met at a quiet Italian place near their house. My father hugged me when I arrived, long and tight, the way he used to when I was a kid. Over pasta, my mother said, "Vanessa called me yesterday." I set down my fork. "And?" "She wanted to know if you'd talked to her." "What did you tell her?" "That it's not my place to ask." I looked at my father. He was watching me, his expression unreadable. "Do you think I should?" I asked him. He considered it. "I think you should do whatever brings you peace. But I also think some people mistake your kindness for weakness." and they need to learn the difference. I nodded slowly. I'm not ready, I said. Then don't be, my mother said simply. We finished dinner. We talked about small things, their garden, a trip they were planning, a book my mother was reading. It felt normal. Safe. When they dropped me off at my hotel, my father rolled down the window. Claire, he said, I'm proud of you. My throat tightened. For what? For knowing your worth. I moved into my condo 3 weeks later. It was smaller, quieter mine. I painted the bedroom a soft gray. I bought plants. I set up a desk by the window where I could see the skyline. Derek texted me once after the papers were signed. I hope you're happy. I didn't respond. But 6 months later, I ran into Ron at a coffee shop downtown. He was with a client, but he waved me over after they finished. Claire, he said, smiling. You look good. Thanks. So do you. I heard you're at Deloitte now? I'd taken a new position. Senior analyst, better pay, better hours, better everything. I said. Good for you. He hesitated. For what it's worth, Derek's been struggling. The firm's fine, but I don't know. Lost, I think. I didn't feel satisfaction hearing that. I didn't feel sympathy either. I felt nothing. I hope he figures it out, I said, and I meant it. Ron nodded. Take care of yourself, Claire. I will. I walked back to my office, coffee in hand, and realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't sad. I was free. That night, I sat at my desk and looked out at the city lights. I thought about the girl who'd worked 2 jobs to fund someone else's dream. The woman who'd believed love meant erasing yourself. The person I'd been when I thought being chosen was the same as being valued. I wasn't her anymore. I'd chosen myself. And that choice had cost me a marriage, a sister's trust, years of my life I'd never get back. But it had given me something irreplaceable. It had given me my dignity. Some people think revenge is about making someone suffer. But real revenge, the kind that lasts, isn't loud. It isn't cruel. It's just the sound of a door closing. Quietly. Permanently. On someone who took you for granted. Derek didn't lose me in a fight. He lost me in the silence that followed. And by the time he realized what that meant, I was already gone. My name is Claire. And I don't regret a single choice I made after that dinner. Not one.